Hello, what's up? I'm Brian here doing another video for you guys, and this time I thought I was going to sit back and relax because I filmed a bunch of news videos earlier today, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to chill out. And then all of a sudden there's more Transformers news, so I gotta talk about that. There's some Transformers Generations listings for Legacy and Velocitron. Yes, we are apparently going to get a second wave. Now I can't say if it's going to follow up with the traditional line of the Walmart exclusives, how there were 5 Deluxes, 2 Voyagers, and a Leader, much like the Netflix line and the previous Velocitron wave, but it's good to see that we're getting more. So let's go ahead and get started. By the way, this is a very reliable source that we get often, but take everything with a grain of salt. Anything could really happen. But we're going to talk about these, and the first thing we're going to discuss is the Velocitron Deluxe Class Crasher. Now, for those who don't know who Crasher is, that character is based on an original GoBot that did get a Transformers release, but it was renamed Fracture. It was released in the 2007 Transformers movie line when they did a whole bunch of repaints, and it was repainted from Classics Mirage. So if you were to imagine, with the name actually back to Crasher instead of Fracture, I'd imagine that it's going to be a repaint of the Earth mode Mirage that we already got. Or maybe it will be the Siege one to change it up, but still, that's pretty cool to see. We're also getting a Deluxe Class Shadow Striker, which I think is a good thing because if it's based on the Cyberverse design, that kind of makes up for the Transformers Cyberverse Deluxe Class line that kind of skipped out on some of the characters like Shadow Striker, so it kind of makes up for that. If it's based on the original Sideburn design that the original character was based on, I'd be fine with that too, but I kind of want a Generations version of that Cyberverse toy. Or design, I should say. Anyways, next up we also have the Legacy Velocitron Voyager Class Hot Rod. Now, if I were to guess, and I think it's pretty obvious, it's just going to be a repaint of the Studio Series 86 Hot Rod, especially considering that this one in particular is going to be a Voyager Class toy. Maybe it's going to be in the toy colors, maybe it's going to be the pinkish highlights that was seen in some of the frames of the animation. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see, but yes, we are getting another Hot Rod. So moving away from exclusives, and we're going to talk about some mainline releases. The first one we have is the Core Class Soundblaster. So you would imagine it is going to be a repaint of the Core Class Soundwave from the Kingdom line, which totally does make sense. I mean, why else would you rework that? I think that it's possible that we did hear that the Legacy line is going to re-release the Soundwave, so maybe there was some mix-up and it's actually going to be Soundblaster, not Soundwave, but if I were to guess, maybe we're just going to get both. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see, but I'm excited that we're getting a Soundblaster. The next figure we're going to talk about is a Core Class Slug and a Core Class Sludge. So yes, we're getting Core Class Dinobots. I imagine they'll do all of them, especially Snarl, considering that they don't have a reason to not do them, like the Studio Series 86 line. I mean, yes, he was seen in a couple of frames, but he wasn't as prominent as some of the other Dinobots. So it's cool to see that we're getting Core Class versions of them. I think that's going to be adorable. And also it's outside of the regular Optimus, Bumblebee, and Megatron that we've seen in the Legends class lineup anyways, so I'm glad that they're expanding out of that. Anyways, the next figure we're going to talk about is a Deluxe Class figure. Now, before I discuss this, there was a Siege fan vote a while back for 2 Deluxes to compete with each other, and they would be released in the mainline. We had an Impactor versus Mirage. We had I think it was Trax versus some other character. I think it was Trax versus Spinister. And then we have Wheeljack versus someone else. I might have confused the Wheeljack and Trax, but I know that those were the 5 characters that was in it. And then there was one other character. Now, those 5 characters have already gotten Generations releases, but the one hasn't. And then there was another fan vote to where you can vote for one of the other characters, and it was between, I think, Runabout, it was between one of the Insecticons and some other character, and then it was Needlenose, which came back from that Siege fan vote. And unfortunately, that lost again. And it seemed like they weren't interested in doing a Needlenose because he lost twice, but there were some really popular characters that he was competing against, and so I decided to campaign that we need Needlenose. In fact, I did the hashtag and tried to share that around, and some people caught on to that, and I was pretty happy about that, but then it kind of dwindled down and we didn't hear much about that. On the listing, it says Generations Deluxe Needlenose. Now, I'm not going to say that I influenced that, but I'm kind of hoping that I influenced that. That's awesome to hear that we're getting a Needlenose finally. That's awesome because we've needed him for quite a while, and I can't wait to complete that lineup from that first fan vote. Anyways, moving on, we also have a Deluxe Class Hotshot. Now, you could probably think that it might be the Armored Hotshot. I'm kind of hoping that it's the Cybertron Hotshot to kind of work with the Velocitron line, even though it's not a Velocitron exclusive. It'd just be nice to throw that in. But I'm kind of hoping that it's the Armada Hotshot, especially considering some of the other characters coming out. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. All it says is Deluxe Class Hotshot. We're also getting a Junkion of some kind in the Deluxe Class lineup. So I'm very curious to see that. I can't really comment too much on it. But considering that it's a Deluxe Class Junkion, it might be cool if they did, I think it's Detrimus, whatever. It's the Siege Hound repaint that everyone wanted, but we never got. So it'd be kind of cool if they decided to repaint Hound finally and gave us that Junkion repaint. Anyways, for Voyager Class, this is where things get really exciting. A Voyager Class Tarn. This is something that people have been asking for a while now, and we're getting Tarn apparently. We thought we were getting one from Cyberverse. We had a toy listing for it, but unfortunately nothing came out of that. So here's hoping that they finally make up and finally release a Voyager Class Tarn, because that has been something a lot of people have been asking for. But that's not the only Voyager. We also have Leo Prime is coming out. So I'm curious to see about that. I think that's a cool figure to do, especially considering that I believe a Masterpiece figure came out pretty recently. And with Masterpieces and Generations, I'm noticing more and more that when there's a Generations release or a Masterpiece release, there's usually the equivalent release down the line. So I'm curious to see exactly how they'll do with the Leo Prime. And then for the Leader Class figures, we're getting a Leader Prime Skyquake. Oh, I am so excited to hear about that because I love Transformers Prime and Skyquake sounds awesome. Now, for those thinking, well, maybe it's going to be a repack of another Skyquake, there is no other Skyquake, or maybe there's some sort of typo with Prime because there was supposed to be that rumored Prime Soundwave, but it was a repacked Soundwave that we got from the Legacy line, and there was some confusion with that. But no, the listing specifically says Prime Skyquake, and I'm curious to see exactly how that will go. Maybe they'll somehow rework the Blitzwing figure and make that. But obviously with a Skyquake, if you're going to do the Prime design, I think we need a Dreadwing, and I think it's about time we got a Generations Dreadwing down the road. But with the name Dreadwing, are they going to do the G2 Dreadwing? Or maybe this is going to be a pre-tool of a G2 Dreadwing, but in Skyquake colors. I almost said Skywar, but Skyquake colors. That'd be kind of cool. And then last but not least for this listing is the Generations Legacy Leader Class Armada Megatron. So they're going back at it and doing this guy. Now, when I heard about Armada Megatron, I was kind of confused because we already have an Optimus Prime from the Unicron trilogy, and we got this one. But this is based on Cybertron. So, what I think this is going to work with, maybe the Hotshot, but I think specifically, because we heard we're getting a Starscream that's based on Armada, I think it's to work with that. Now, you're probably thinking, well, maybe they'll finally release that Optimus Prime that we've been hearing about. There was a Toy Fair event that showed an Optimus Prime, but to that, it was more of a pitch design. It wasn't really anything that actually transformed. It was just there for the showing. But that's also possible that they'll finally jump on that. Maybe it'll be a Commander Class toy, because if Megatron's going to be a leader, the next step up is Commander Class. I don't know, we'll just have to wait and see. So, are you excited for anything? Please let me know in the comment section down below. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to all those fun doodads. And we'll see you guys next time.
AllSpark TV, now that's just prime.